So I have a question, not exactly question, but I just want to clarify whether I have understood it clearly or not regarding the SVG image thing.
Yeah. Yes, please. Go on.
Okay. So there's a if I am using SVG image instead of a JPEG or PNG, so one is the resizability is the plus point with the SVG, so it will
Yes.
not. So that's clear. The second is when this high contrast thing was enabled, and if I'm using JPG, then the background colors etc. won't change. Whereas if I'm using SVG, the colors will automatically change and get aligned with the high contrast options. Yeah.
Yes, in principle. And I mean, you can still mess up an SVG so it doesn't change.
Okay.
I mean, anything you can do in a PNG, you can still do in the SVG. So I can change the background so it will always stay white, for instance. But in general, yes, in general, that's the advantage.
Okay. Second, normally when we are dealing with images on website, most of the times we already have an image. So if I change the format of an image from PNG to SVG, then will it work most of the times? Because I will not be creating an image from a scratch.
When you change it, we change from a PNG to SVG, you say?
Yeah. Most of the times it will be like is using an existing image and then converting it to SVG.
That doesn't always work. So converting to SVG is not a straightforward thing to do. Okay. Generally, SVGs have to be generated. The problem with, as you can imagine, is that what you do in an SVG is you say things like, okay, here's a line from coordinate x to x naught, y naught to coordinate x1 and y1, x1, y1, right? Now, obviously, if you have that in a PNG, all you have are black and white pixels set. Now, you first have to recognize from where to where does that line go. If you just, if you have a very simple image, there's tools that allow you to do that, things like Inkscape, but in general, that's not possible.
Okay.
So SVGs have to be generated, and that is obviously, I mean, the course is about creating accessible documents. So my cop out here is, we're not talking about making accessible existing websites accessible. We're talking about creating new accessible documents, and that it's kind of a good practice or best practice is to use SVGs rather than PNGs. Whenever you can generate them, do not even think about using a JPEG.
See, Piyush, the way you look upon it in a bitmap, you do not have the information that it's a line. It's only a set of bits which have some values. And okay. SVG knows that it is a line. So it has that objects and it has, so if you have to recognize that, that's not, easy. So it's not, definitely for general pictures, you can't do it. So.
Okay, and sir, I missed the
in one of the projects we were doing it for very specific, let's say, objects. You can recognize a circle, you can recognize a triangle and create an SVG. This was part of one activity, but you cannot do it in general.
Got it. And I missed the concluding statement on the color and the color of the curve. So what was the concluding statement, sir? We can remove the color thing and just define it's a solid curve and a dotted curve. Was that
we could do that in principle, but in practice, you want, as I said, you want to cater for as many people as possible. There are, and that's, let's face it, the majority of people will react positively to say the red curve is this, the blue curve is that.
Okay.
So in many ways, you don't want to remove that, the traditional way of doing it, but you want to enhance it so it allows more people to perceive which curve you're talking about. And you do that by doing the right color referencing, i.e., in terms of the real color you're using, or underlaying the actual writing, and you do it by additionally giving in patterns. So for people who can't perceive colors at all, that this will help. Obviously, it still won't help people that can't even see the curve. But those are techniques we're going to discuss later in the lecture, and probably Diagrams we're doing after. Next week we're doing math, and then we're doing diagrams afterwards. All right. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out where I'm continuing in my slides. Right, Clive. So now we have a technical challenge ahead of us, because what I would like you to do is I want to have you split up into 3 groups at some point. I'll go through 2 slides with you, show you something a bit, and then I want to split people into 3 groups and work through the exercise material that I've put together. I've been looking at all these buttons here, but I couldn't find a way how to generate breakout rooms. Is there a way to do this?
Split them into?
Can we generate 3 breakout rooms?
That's only in Zoom.
But I don't think that is option in the MS.
There is no option.
Even if there is, it will take time to figure it out. So I would suggest that.
Okay.
So we will be ready next time. So we will. So
all right. Then all right.
Would you always be like to work with 3 groups, Volker?
Well, this time we were playing with 3 tools, so I thought we could do 3 groups. But yeah, 3 groups would certainly be always sufficient, I feel.
Okay. So I will do that.
How many people are we at the moment? Yes, I think 3 groups is roughly what we. Anyway, so let's continue briefly, and then I want people to actually work through something. Right. So I've already introduced the Web Trinity last Wednesday, which consisted of the 3 main structures of what the web consists of. The HTML, which is primarily there for structure and content, for structuring content, syntax. CSS is what's there to present and lay out and style things, and JavaScript that allows you for interactivity and adapting your content. Now, there's other things that go with it. SVG, we've just discussed briefly, which is scalable vector graphics, which gives you a way into graphics. And then there's this YARIA, which in many ways is there to implement the WCAG specification, at least in parts. The idea there is to give human-oriented semantics to web content. And there's other things that can give it machine-oriented semantics, but we're not going to discuss that in detail now. And the 2 things we want to have a quick look at today is just kind of HTML for structure, and in particular how good structure can be achieved, and ARIA for how that structure can be marked up so it is actually helpful for people that cannot see it and that have to use things like screen readers. And obviously, in some later lectures, we'll look in more details at what SVG really is, and also what we can do with JavaScript in order to facilitate all that. And what I want you to do is that we want to have a look at some of the free extensions that are available for testing accessibility. One of the free extensions that's available, it's pretty much for everybody available who's just got a browser, is what's called the Lighthouse extension. And just because we were on that page, whatever. Let's have a look at the IIT Delhi homepage. Let's close whatever that is. There you go. That's the IIT Delhi homepage. As I said, there's all kinds of news and alumni in the news and whatnot. And for those of you who want to play along, I'm opening up the inspector or the developer's console, and then you do that with Control-Shift-I, for instance. Now, the problem with the developer's console is it's often not accessible by itself. And then the developer's console, you have a number of elements. Depends on, I'll show you how most people will probably see it. Most people will probably see the developer's console on the right-hand side of their screen, which is not a good place for it, in my opinion, at least, because it's very limiting in terms of what you can perceive. what I prefer to do is I'll dock it at the bottom, and then you can see all the different tools that are available to you, right? You can look at the source, and particularly on the rightmost side, you have what's called the Lighthouse tab. And if you see the light, if you click on the Lighthouse tab, you can now see, oh, it says generate a report. And I'll do that, I'll click that, and it takes a while, and it reloads the page, and it runs a full audit on the page. And let's see what happens for the IIT homepage. Because I'm really not sure how it deals with this. Oh, there's the light version at the very bottom. Oh, whoa. Right, so it's auditing the homepage now, and it takes a while till it goes through it because apparently it's very large. It gives you some ideas what's happening, and afterwards it generates an accessibility report and a performance report and all kinds of things. And for those of you who can see the screen, you can see all the things that are happening and how it's being taken apart. And now we've got the report. And what we can see here is on the performance, it's got a 20%. That mainly has to do because there's a lot of animation on the page, which tends to slow things down. And has an accessibility score of 79. That's what we're really interested in. And now we can see a lot of things that go wrong with the accessibilities. So buttons do not have accessible names. Then there's all kinds of frame elements which do not have titles. Image elements do not have alternative text attributes, and so on and so forth. And there's a lot of things. Now, one of the things with this Lighthouse tool, as I said, it's available in every browser, in every WebKit-based browser, and it works straight out of the box. It's not necessarily very precise. And we want to have a look at a couple of more precise elements now. If I can find my slides. And, oops, that's the wrong slides.
Volker, can it have a different performance browser-wise?
When you say performance, what exactly do you mean?
Because on your browser it showed 20 performance score. On my browser it is showing 3 as a performance score.
3?
Yes.
Instead of 20. Oh, yes, right. So what you can do is, with the Lighthouse app, is let me go back to how do I do that? Hold on. We can ask if you do the generate report, you cannot just do the performance and everything for your desktop device. You can also do it for mobile devices.
Okay.
If you run it for mobile, generally the performance goes way down. I'll be happy to do that, but it might take an hour, a long time, not an hour. But because it now tries to run things on a mobile phone, and if there's, particularly if it's animation heavy, if there's a lot of content that needs to be loaded, then the performance goes really way down. So that could explain the 3% that you get for performance.
Oh, okay, got it.
But is it also impacted by the network bandwidth?
It shouldn't be. Normally it is. So normally it is by performance is based on how the site is being built, how it's being rendered, and how the rendering flow works in the browser. So the rendering flow on mobile browsers works slightly different than in desktop browsers.
No, but if they are measuring timing, so the timing will also get some function from the actual network bandwidth.
There is a certain network bandwidth component if things are being loaded late. So we notice that, for instance, when you have big libraries on the page, like math checks or something, that this can also and particularly if some of these libraries are then responsible for rendering things. Anyway, let's have a look at what the mobile scores are for in a second. We don't want to. I mean, the website is really nice in many ways in terms of, as I said, in terms of design and probably also in terms of development. Great. In terms of some of these other issues, probably somebody else might want to have another look at it. What am I trying? Right. So now I want you to do some work. Since we don't have breakout rooms, can I have a quick show of hands? Who has installed some of these tools I've mentioned before the break on their browser? I can see 1, 2, 3. Hold on, 5. Yeah. Right. All right. So I can see 6 people, 7. Brilliant. So I think for the initial idea is for you to just have having one installed is probably fine. So there's either the WCAG tool or the Inside Accessibility tool, or we have the Wave tool, which is very, very nice. So you go to the web store effectively. I'll just show you quickly how to do that for the Wave tool. You go to the web store and then you just run install, right?
Volker, I have permitted everyone to be able to share their screen, so you can even ask someone else to share the screen if
that would be even better. Now, my second question is, and I'm aware that this is a personal question. You don't have to answer that. Is there somebody of you who's using a screen reader and who cannot visually see their screen? Anyone?
I think we should all take out our hands so that somebody raises the hand.
Right. Yes.
In
case somebody new raises their hand, I mean, you're welcome to just speak up as well.
Yeah, you can speak up. Yes, sir.
Kanchan, is that right? Hello? Kanchan Shao, is that right? Are you volunteering to have a look at our website? Right. So what I want you to do is the following. I have an example website. Where is it? It's not here. Oh God, sorry, I'm a bit lost in my own slides here. I have an example website which is here. So this is the form site. Can we paste that into the chat?
Yeah, you can place that into the
chat. Nope, I still can't access the chat.
Okay, so let me do that. Okay. Let me do that just.
Okay. In the meantime, who would like to share their screen? And run one of these little tools. I know how to run them, so it's not going to be fun. Yes, please. Mera, is that right? I might really mispronounce everybody's names. I'm really sorry. If you want to share your screen, please do. Yes?
Let me try.
Just 1 second. I need to type this in. I can't copy this.
Let me go to the example sites, cats again.
Sir, I have pasted in the chat window. I have pasted the link.
Yeah, paste it.
Access the chat window.
Yes.
Oh, Neha, did you paste? That's fantastic. Great. Why can't I access the chat window?
I copied from your repo, Volker.
Yes, that's all right.
How do I
So,
share my screen?
I don't know. I probably have to stop
who is
sharing.
sharing the screen? They have to remove it. So, Volker, are you sharing?
I'm probably am, yes.
So you can this one there. Yes, please. You can share the screen.
Is it visible?
Not as yet.
Sorry, I think I just kicked myself out. I closed the wrong screen here, so I was just temporarily out of the picture. Let me stop sharing myself here.
Yes, we can see the screen.
All right.
Able to
So
see
if
the
you go
screen,
to the example side, so Kanchan, if you want to have a look at the example side with your screen reader, and then afterwards tell us what you see, or in particular what you don't see. Right. So what I want you to do here is I want you to run one of these in the extensions. Say you have, I think you've installed Wave. Is that right? Yes. Please
Yes,
go
I have
ahead.
installed all of them. Shall I run the wave?
Well, start with the Wookok one first, which is the one to the right, one further to the right. Yes.
Is this the one?
Yes. Yes. So if I open it, then you can do an audit on the page. Ah, that was fast. And it now tells you things like controls with that label. So what do you think those are?
The tick mark and the question mark.
actually the text boxes without label, I believe.
Controls without label.
Control left, center, right. All that kind of. Do they have a label? Probably you may have to run a screen reader to check it.
You can click on that control without label. It will highlight on the page.
Oh, okay.
Ah, yes.
I have.
Okay.
I don't. Sorry.
Oh, no, it has gone.
Okay, good.
Click on the.
Yeah, try clicking on it. What happens?
It does. It seems to select the context. It's not going to any element.
I think it should also be able to you should be able to see the element, but let's go to a different tool. There's plenty
But
of
are these three the ones it is reporting collatedly under this heading human language low contrast elements page? Are these the ones? Three?
Yes. So these are bad things. They're all red. Try the wave one now.
Achha, okay.
That's this one, yeah. Yes. Now that's a bit clearer. If you scroll down a bit, you can see a bit more.
Scroll down.
Scroll also on the page. If you scroll on the page a bit, you can see the details, yeah, and if you scroll the page on the right.
Oh, okay. Next to each of it. Okay.
Yeah. So you can now see things what goes wrong, right? Normally it tells you on hover what it is.
Okay.
Linked image missing alternative text. An image without alternative text results in an empty link. So all text is missing in these cases. So that's one thing.
What is this? Oh, that's nasty. Somebody put in an ARIA. So, Kantan, let me ask you, did you see any images on the page?
3 cats.
So who was using the screen reader only?
Sorry. So that question was for Kanchan. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes, we can see them, but the problem is, can you see them with the screen reader? Another question, that is a question for everybody who's on that page. How many links can you see on that page? Regardless of whether you're using a screen reader or not.
3 links.
Which ones?
Those are not image links. Those are hyperlinks that we can see.
Which ones are, where are those 3?
Inside div.
Inside the div, right. So, well,
I
each
couldn't
image
see
is a
any
link.
links as such when if I don't have the tool.
But there's 4 links in the page. I'm telling you, there's 4 links in the page. Who can find the 4th link for me?
Okay, I would like to open it without the tool.
You can always switch off the tool, yes. But where's the 4th link?
Oh, it's on the button.
Ah, well done. Yes, yes. I said,
But where are the other 3 links? I don't see links.
oh, you can't. Well, I'll tell you something. Move your mouse over the images. Can you see anything?
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
there's a link. Isn't that great? Well,
Yes,
somebody was so nasty as to have the same look and feel for the mouse everywhere. So you don't
The
even
cursor
recognize
didn't
the mouse
change.
pointer changing, right?
And the
Oh,
mouse
that's
actually disappeared when we hover over the second cat and reappears somehow.
yes. Well, there's all kinds of nasty tricks built in. This was a deliberately badly designed website.
Right.
I just wanted to show off some of the CSS skills that one can have. Yes. Right. What else did we find? What else is bad in terms of design? Anybody else? Have anybody else seen anything that's bad?
I think the page structure is missing, page structure and the heading level.
What does heading level mean?
It's like styles, you have the main heading, then inside that you have subheadings. So you always start from the heading left, the main heading, which is heading level 1, and then you go down to heading level 2, 3, and 4, depending
Exactly.
on the.
Exactly. And that is a classic example of what people do wrong. They want a particular size of heading for their website. And they think, oh, it shouldn't be too large. I don't take H1, I'll take H3. Meaning that the structure of the page is entirely, is in terms of the semantic structure of the document, it's compromised just by the views. Instead of using the possibilities of taking H1 and then using styling in order to change how it looks. Because then you have still the main heading should be H1, subheadings H2, and so on and so forth. The people know their way around where they are in terms of importance or in terms of the hierarchy of a document. Anything else? There's at least 2 more little bits I've hidden.
Title is missing.
Language.
Yes. And similarly, do we know which audience the page is intended for? Can I see? I think that should be somewhere as well. I think it's at the very top. No title, and then it should say at some point language is missing or invalid. I haven't specified which language it is in. I haven't said it's in English. So normally you use a little ISO marker to say it's English, it's German, it's Hindi, it's whatever. Anything else?
The button at the top, which has the bottom, which has a tick mark, should have a label also. Like what does it represent? We are not able to understand it.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
there is a tick mark button. What is it about?
So
It doesn't have a label.
We don't know. It's a button. You just press it and find out, right?
Yeah.
It has no. The user has not even this.
What is that about? Like,
Perfectly
doesn't have
sees the
submit,
page.
or is it like, save or anything like that?
Exactly.
No, there is a useful message in the bottom saying if you press the button, nothing will happen.
No, that is after that, actually.
useful
That is after
either.
that. That is after that, not before the button.
And it also doesn't tell you which button. There's two buttons.
Yeah.
And one, when you press the question mark, actually something happens, right? You go to Wikipedia. If you press the question mark, please. Ooh, we're all of a sudden on a Wikipedia page. Isn't that great? Well, just to wrap it up, even this little node at the bottom is useless for many people because it's very, very low contrast, and that's one of the things which you could see is the contrast arrow. It tells you there's one contrast arrow on the page, which is exactly that. This part is just very low contrast. Right? It's a kind of a grayish, a very light grayish color on top of white. Doesn't even come out well if you change the color palette. Anyway, I think yes, I'm mindful of the time.
It has not flagged anything about not having a label about this, right? The question mark, all the tick, it has not flagged that.
Missing form label. So if you go on the left hand side and you move over those little arrows and the arrow icons, if you move over them, and then you can see where the things are missing, right? Where missing form label, for instance, you can see those little.
So this right, center, and left are not linked to this. That's a problem.
Exactly. They just float on the page. You have no idea that this is what they mean. So if you just go to that particular text form, you have no idea what to enter.
Yeah, but the label not being available for the question mark and the tick, these two buttons have not been flagged for any issue.
NVDA is reading the question mark and the tick mark. Like when the
does NVIDIA reads that as a button?
Yeah. It says
what does it say?
And
Question mark, right? Tick mark. Okay.
So can you go down
submit
on the left side? The 9 errors, what is there below? Previous page. Yeah. No, the wave. Yeah, go down. Go down further. No. Structural elements, what is that? Heading level. Okay, that's heading level.
Heading level.
Okay, no page.
We're starting.
They have a form label like tick and all that, so that it doesn't take it. It's more a usability issue, actually.
Okay.
Yes, but one of the things that hasn't really picked up is the missing is the uninformative buttons, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's being picked up by Lighthouse, but I'm not. Yeah, could be. Anyway, I'm mindful of the time. I think we have to conclude. Oops. Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Can
I'll stop sharing.
I take over the screen again, please?
You can stop sharing.
Yeah, sure.
Right, so that was the exercise. Oops. Just to show you, this is the other tool, the third tool, which we hadn't looked at, which just outlines everything what's wrong, right? Failed, hidden aria, and so on, but it also doesn't outline the buttons for some reason. Anyway, we've got enough of cats now. Right. So I'll post a summary of findings here later today. but in the meantime, by all means, if you haven't played around with these tools yet, they're quite interesting to play around with. Another thing which, for those of you, many of you probably use have used screen readers before. If you haven't, there's screen readers freely available for all for all operating systems. Mac is particularly easy. You just press Command F5. But Windows, you narrate as pre-installed. NVDA is free. Chores at least for 40 minutes. You have systems like TalkBack on Android, which is I would not necessarily, for the uninitiated, I wouldn't necessarily recommend for the first time. You've got some on Linux. You've got Chromebooks, at least on Chrome, and you've got Orca, which is straightforward, an apt getaway. So if you could just install one of those before our next lecture, and then maybe play around with that particular example site again, just to see what you cannot see on that site when you just listen to it. Right? There's a lot of little trickery built in, and then next Tuesday? No, Wednesday. When are we going to reconvene? Is it Wednesday or Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Does anybody know?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, right. So next Tuesday, we start diving into a bit more complex documents. We'll look at some more ARIA trickery, and in particular then start looking at what's hard about STEM documents. Why are they generally not covered by all the guidelines we've been discussing about, and then looking into how can we actually deal with them, make them accessible, and so on and so forth. So that'll keep us busy all of next week, and I'll see you on Tuesday then.
Okay, you can stop sharing. Welcome.
I'm trying. Last time I tried that, I kicked myself out. Oh, here it is. Okay, managed.
Okay, thanks again, Volker. I think we had a very interesting session. So we would combine. So I think in between, the one is that questionnaire, you will already the link is there on this. You can use it. Otherwise, you'll also get it on your mail. And also, I would request that some of you who would like to volunteer for transcribing this lecture, so that will also be useful. Actually, not really transcribing, but basically trying to create a document, draft document, which can be a helpful reading material for the course. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And as I said, I'll be sticking around for another 10 minutes in case you have any questions or want to have a chat. Feel free to do so.